getting a little later start today. Stopped by Tim's, which was highly recommended. It's where I went yesterday, but I wasn't able to contact Tim, and we have to register the night before to get a pancake breakfast. But we ran into some people who were registering, so pancake breakfast, 12 patriotic pancakes with berries, fresh berries, apples, and then sausage and eggs and coffee. It was delicious and really nice to chit chat with another through hiker headed north, almost done. He was in good spirits, and that's always nice to be around. So late start to the hike, and bad news. If you watched the video from yesterday, it's the second part. I videoed all day, and I was really excited about it, and then I accidentally deleted the movie after I made it last night at camp. So just dumb, and I was so disappointed, especially since I have the phone, but I have to just let that go, which is hard for me right now, because I shared a lot. I shared a lot of what was going on these last few days, so I might end up repeating myself, and if I do, I do. So over today, I'll try to recap some of the things that I talked about yesterday and do that while walking in mud and rocks. It may take a little bit. The biggest thing that I talked about was nutrition and the fact that I got rid of my stove. I am only cold soaking oats, and I am not doing the warm dinners or warm coffee. I have a coffee protein shake thing I do mid-morning, and I have switched to wraps for dinner with tuna, or if I can find it, this shredded pork stuff. See how that goes. So I lost the weight of my cook pot, my stove, my fuel canister, and my backpacker mug, and basically replaced it with bug spray. So I am carrying Sawyer, which I love that company because 90% of their proceeds go to clean water initiatives. And so I feel like, wow. But it's not Picardin, it's DEET. And I hate that. I'm probably poisoning myself, but I react. And it's the only thing that seems to help with the flies. So for at least the state of Maine, I will poison myself with DEET. Oh, speaking of healthy, someone had commented that the half-gallon challenge, eating a half-gallon of ice cream wasn't healthy, and I agree. But not much of this experience is for my health. It actually beats me up pretty badly. Nutrition is lacking. Sometimes dehydration is there. Lack of sleep, whether it's snoring hikers, 85% humidity, or incessant itching from fly and bug bites. Repetitive motion on the joints, pounding on my feet. It's just not necessarily a walk towards health. And those who do the trail to lose weight often just regain it back and more. I just ran into a giant spider web with a spider on my face, and my sleeve got caught in my trekking pole and I couldn't wipe it off, and it was crazy. So a lot of hikers end up underweight, sometimes severely underweight, and even malnourished after they're done with their through hike. And so my intention has always been to maintain my weight. I think I'm actually gaining weight, which is really weird for me, but a weird concept anyway to think about because of the amount of calories I'm probably burning. But I'll take it. I know that I'll end the trail stronger, and I'm sure I'll just bounce back much quicker when I'm done. This is what the trail has been like for most of my experience here in Maine. Muddy, rocky, messy, rooty, more mud, more rocks, more mess, more roots. The other items I sent home were 2 roll top stuffed sacks. They're supposed to be waterproof, but I've been using them for like 5 years. And even after retreating them, neither one functioned very well in that area. And the first one was a 55-liter 6 Moon design roll top pack liner. And I used that in addition to the Nyla Flume bag. I double did it. Wet gear is a fear of mine. And although that was great in the south where the temperatures were low and my gear was bulkier, it gave me the ability to compress it further than just the Nyla Flume sack. Additionally, it provided a way for me to hang my bear can, and in all the reading and research I did, that was a requirement even with a bear can in the Smokies. More mud. But here in Maine, where it's been hot and humid, that liner just holds water, and I don't need it for the compression because my gear compresses pretty easily. My summer gear does, and it takes up less space, and I don't need to hang my bear can, so it was just weight I didn't need to carry, so I sent that home. And the little 3-liter Osprey one is what I use for all of my extras, including my electronics. And I use it to kind of clip it onto my ridgeline, which is great. That's nice to have, but it holds water and is damp, and that's not great for the electronics. So I moved to 2 Ziploc bags, one for electronics, one for some of the extras that I carry. And although I can't clip those to my ridgeline, I can put them in my peak shelves of my hammock. So I've been doing that, and that's working out great. So those 2 items were sent home along with my cookware. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I think that's it as far as gear that I've sent home. Sending the gear home gave me, lightened my load a little bit, but then, as I mentioned, I added it back with bug spray and also cortisone, like a roll-on cortisone ointment. I've been bit, and my hands have swollen pretty extensively, and that lasted. I even took an antihistamine that I brought. Those I'm not using anymore. They just don't work for that. So hopefully this cortisone cream will work if I do get bit again and swell. I'm trying not to use it, but at least I have it. I also bought 2 pieces of gear at the last hostel that I stayed at, Shaw's. They had a really nice gear selection, anything you could think of really, even some of the cottage gear. I replaced my Canuck or Seanock reservoir. This is the second one I've had trouble with. The first one, the clip broke. This one had a pinhole, and so the water would leak out. And as you know, I like to dry camp sometimes, so the ability to carry water is really important. It still worked as a dirty water bag, but not as a reservoir. So I replaced that, and then I replaced my Injinjis. They lasted quite a while, but were developing holes and becoming really thin in spots. So I bought a pair of Injinjis. A lot of people use the Injinji wool liners in addition to their darn tough socks. I don't do that. I just use the Injinji running socks. They are not made of wool. They're a little bit more reliable. I do have a pair of the hiker socks, the Injinjis, and those are a little thicker. So I went with the Cool Max Ultralight Injinji running socks this time. So other than the Jolly Gear sun shirt that was gifted to me by a family friend in memory of my grandma, it's really cool to be able to wear that every day. I have not purchased any other gear on trail. I have been considering switching my shoes from the Ultra Lone Peaks to the Olympus, and That's because the Olympus remains a 0-drop shoe, but adds about 3/4 of an inch of cushioning. And right now my feet feel like they could use that. I'm not sure though. I don't know if I want to add an expense right now, especially after the phone ordeal and knowing that it's a little bit more expensive here in the north, according to other hikers. Got a fly chasing me. Ah. Yes, this is the trail. All these big rocks to navigate in and around. Have I mentioned that there are a lot of mushrooms in Maine? It's just really beautiful in through here, especially with the sun coming in through the trees and the green of the moss. So Maine does believe in bridges, but I think they need to do what they do in Pennsylvania and other places, is put chicken wire on them. Because these bridges, when they're wet like this, are so slippery. Now this is different. First of all, this area has a lot of down trees. It's been drier, which is so nice. Still got a fly following me around, but let's see. It's funny with the flies. Can hear them buzzing, and then I just start whacking myself on the head. See if I could kill them. I know ahimsa and yoga practice and nonviolence and all of that, but I just can't take it. No more bites. And they're just mean. They're mean creatures. I don't even know why they exist. I'm very grateful for this bridge because down here is a whole lot of wet. Wonder how far this goes. Now that I'm in the woods, that it's getting a little slick. Oh, it ends right there. See a lot of moose poop, but only one moose. Maine does have some pretty lakes. And there's some mountains in the background. Again, I'm very thankful for these bridges. I really love it in through here. And I'm walking along the water. Been walking along the water for a while now. And I know I called it a lake, but I actually think it's a pond. Okay, best put this down before I fall. A lot of the water is tannic. It's safe, drinkable, but even after you filter it, it's still a little yellow in color. Not sure about this. This is really, really dark. You know, Maine is starting to grow on me, and maybe it's because It's not so humid and it's not quite so hot. It's funny, at breakfast this morning I was sharing how I've almost created or personified Maine to be a person or entity of some sort, and how I'm not liking her very much, and how it seems like she's been out to get me. And I've even, over the last few days, have begged with her to lighten up a little bit on the bugs and so forth. But today, maybe we can be friends. This has been the craziest bridge thing I've seen. I mean, there's bridges when you don't need them, and then they just kind of end. So I could potentially be camping right here tonight, but we might push on to the next shelter. We need to watch a sunset from this rock. We decided to push the extra 2.5 miles to the next shelter, which leaves us finishing with a 1.5 mile climb, which I'm not too excited about, but currently the terrain is not bad. So I will keep my speed at this point, because I know once we start to climb, I will slow way down. At least it's cool and there's a nice little breeze.